and welcome to NCC Video Waves. My name is Danielle. I'm your host for this evening. And today we're interviewing Rich Herschlag. He is co-author of Punk Rock Blitzkrieg.
You got it.
It is co-authored with Marky Ramone, and it is one of the best time sellers.
Yeah, New York Times
Something
bestseller.
like that,
yeah, New York
right?
Times
Something
bestseller.
like that.
You've heard of that newspaper.
Yeah, it's a pretty good newspaper, right? So that's pretty good. New York Times bestsellers list. I mean, that's.
You know, but I still do the dishes at home.
Right.
And I changed the cat litter.
Well, yeah.
You know what?
That hasn't changed.
No,
That
not at
title
all.
It's
not a game changer.
That doesn't change.
Beware.
No, absolutely does not change. So, what is for you was the most challenging for you when you began writing this with Marky Ramone?
Well, that's a good question, and I got a call in December of 2013 to work on this, sort of out of the blue, and it's a subject very dear to my heart. So that was all good. I know a lot about music, punk rock music, but they had a deadline of 4 or 5 months to produce about 150,000 words, and the words have to all flow together. You know, they just can't be random words, right? It's like they have to all tell the story, and I almost turned it down because of that. But I got off of an airplane at Philadelphia International Airport a few days later, and I got into my car. It was like 2 degrees below zero, and I turned on the radio, and I heard Blitzkrieg Bop, which is the first Ramones song ever, and I said, oh, that's like a sign from above that I should take the project.
Which gave you the title.
I think the title already existed, but yeah. But it all kind of fit together, right? You know, like my wife is a big believer in angels, and I'm a big believer in luck. But I just felt that it took a lot of self-discipline to be at this every night. I couldn't do 3 days on, 2 days off. I had to just be at it every night for 4 months. And I have other assignments and things I'm doing. So self-discipline, but I love the subject, so it's a labor of love.
What inspired you to take this project on with Marky Ramone?
Well, as I said, when I got that phone call, it came through a recommendation of mutual friends. Like, you need somebody to write this memoir. He knows a lot about rock and roll. And so by the time the recommendation came to me and the phone call came to me, it was already kind of locked in place. I think I was the right person to do this. I had been in a band for many years myself. I grew up in Forest Hills, which is where most of the Ramones are from. Marky's from Brooklyn. You know Brooklyn. Shout out, right?
Oh yeah, shout out to Brooklyn.
And so I was a bass player. I learned to play bass in part because of bassists like Dee Dee Ramone. So I went to high school at Stuyvesant, which is Lower Manhattan, which was around when the CBGB scene was getting big. I later played at CBGB's. I felt that the stars were kind of aligned for me to do it. So it was dumped into my lap, and it's one of those times when you just say, thank you, okay, So.
Now, from what I understand, one of the points in the book refers to Marky Ramone's alcoholism.
Sure.
Can you give some thoughts onto what that was like to write about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Marky, he really didn't know that he had a problem for a long time. If you think about the early 70s into the mid 70s, a lot of people were doing things that were really very dangerous and lethal. So the alcoholism for him just, it took a long time for him to realize that it was a problem. But I think it's a very necessary part of the book because it shows a lot of humility and it could be inspiring to other people who don't even know they have a problem.
There are a lot of people with alcoholism. I mean, not the first one. Musicians face that a lot. Well, that's.
You have to know you have to understand that you have a problem.
And hope he can inspire others as well to, to get help that he needs, of course. Why do you think, as time went on, that the Ramones became as popular as they have been?
I think they were ahead of their time, and I think you pay a big price when you're ahead of your time. It takes a long time for people to catch up, but you have radio and the internet, and like Vincent van Gogh was ahead of his time. It's just it takes a long time for things to filter through the culture, especially if you're doing something different. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Rich. I do appreciate you coming out to join us.
My pleasure.
And that's all the questions we have today here on NCC Video Waves. Thank you.